everybody. My name's Tyler Coates. Thank you for sticking around. I'm going to bring out the cast. First, I'm going to bring out Liana Liberato. And then we have Chris Messina. And last but not least, Kaley Cuoco.
Hi.
Oh, yours is right behind you.
Hello, everyone.
Well, congratulations on this show and the second season. I got to watch the two first episodes that you saw today. They're so funny. We were talking backstage. I feel like, Liana, you were complimenting Kaley on how funny it is.
Yes, do you want to do that again?
I don't know
You should
what you're
probably
talking
say
about.
what you said backstage so everyone can hear it.
I like regretted it the moment I said
Yeah.
it. I did say that I didn't think she could get any funnier.
Oh.
And you did. I was cackling. I watched the whole season.
Wait, I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, I did.
We're impressed.
It was great.
Oh, good.
It's really good.
You have way more coming. Yeah.
Some good stuff coming. But you guys were cracking me up. It was awesome.
So the first question I wanted to throw out to all of you, what were you most excited about the second season? I know you're there's a little change up behind the scenes with the new showrunner and Annie Weissman. But what were you, when you first started talking about it, looking at the scripts, were you really excited about?
I mean, it's so rare to be able to do a project where you love everything about it. The cast, the crew, the location, the scripts, the characters. And this, for me, just hit every box. And when we started shooting season 1, I was like, I could not wait to do a season 2. It was such a special experience. And at this point in my career, I want to work with people that I want to get up at 4 a.m. for,
Right.
and leave my own family for. And this just checked every box. I just loved every minute of it. I would do many more seasons. Why did you get up?
Yeah.
Why did I get up?
Yeah, tell us.
Hey, everybody. What I liked the tennis stuff I got to do.
Yeah.
That was a lot of
I
fun.
tried to help you.
She is an amazing
Trying to
tennis
help
player,
her.
so she
Did good.
she tried to help. It was hard to do. I liked my stuff with Tom Bateman this season. He's kind of is a great actor, and he's kind of like a muse to my character.
Yeah.
This dysfunctional friendship. So that was a lot of fun to do.
How about you, Liana?
Kind of the same as Kaley. I was just excited to get to hang out with everyone more. I feel like in the first season I didn't get to spend a lot of time with people, and so I was excited to sort of join the crew and hang and laugh. And they pick on me all the time, so I don't know why I even
I
say
don't know
that.
what you're talking about.
They always pick on
Why
me.
would you say that?
So is there like a method, performance quality to your relationship on screen playing sisters, or is this just...
Yes.
I do feel like we fell into that quite
Oh,
naturally.
100%, yes. We
Yeah.
became definite sisters.
Yeah.
I gave her a lot of shit. She gave me a lot of shit. Just constantly.
Yeah, it worked out well.
It did. I love you being my sister. And you're so good in this show.
Yeah. So Kaley, I wanted to start with the first episode, which, your character is now a new mom, and that provides a lot of tension for her and also a lot of humor, I think, for us. So I'm curious, what about that, especially, the pumping, for one, is just like an incredible visual gag that just
I can't
kept
believe
coming
I
back.
did that on camera. I don't know what was wrong with me. I just was glad I wasn't pregnant this season. I was like thanking God. So yes, obviously I am a new mom, and it was paralleling Ava being a new mom. So I was sharing a lot of stories with Annie and stuff, and kind of how funny some of this stuff is, and some of the mommy and me classes, and some of the moms that I've met along the way. I was like, I think we need to normalize not being the best mom,
Right.
not being the perfect mom. And I love how at the beginning she's so worried about it, but then she just throws it to the wind, which is exactly how kind of I felt when I first had my daughter. So it was fun to do that, and just I'm loving even when I was pregnant last season, it was an opportunity to show that you can be anything on being a pregnant mom and looking pregnant and not trying to like hide it, or not even this season like letting it be messy and whatever it is, because it felt really real, and I was excited to just to show that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, I'm very curious for you, kind of navigating a comedy like this that is a lot of the comedy, especially your character that we see in these 2 episodes, there's a lot of physicality to it. I'm thinking of like getting kind of trapped in that hammock, also trapped in a hot tub, just things, you're getting confined into. But, I think what I love about it is that there is still like a very grounded nature to that humor. So I'm curious, like, do you approach it as if like this is a comedy versus like a dramatic role, or is it kind of all the same process for you?
I think it's the same.
Yeah.
I guess the biggest difference is that, I guess in a movie or a play, you have the entire script in front of you, so you can map it out. And here, you're just you're not quite sure where you're going,
Right.
Which is kind of fun, but a bit scary. But yeah, I mean, the comedy, I struggle with comedy because, it's just such a fine line to walk. Feeling like you're over the top or pushing, and it's uncomfortable. But when you have someone like Kaley that you're acting opposite, if you just kind of listen and kind of follow her lead, you usually end up in a really good place.
Right.
I can't believe he always says he's uncomfortable with comedy. He's literally one of the funniest actors I've ever worked with in my entire career. We laughed so hard, and half the time it was like, let's just do more, You're a genius.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious about, I told you backstage, and I'm going to say it out loud here too. I'm like obsessed with the line that you give in the first episode, which is, I could shit in your mouth.
Oh, yeah. That's a real classic.
Yeah.
It's going to go down with some of the most iconic sentences in TV history.
Yeah, that's going to be on
I
the
can't wait for my daughter to watch that.
Yeah, that's going to be etched in a wall one day, I think. But for an example of that line, like when you're given a line like that is so, and you don't read it like it's a joke. I mean, you
No, it's not.
did
It's
it
very
completely
serious.
seriously.
Yeah, it's very serious.
So is that part of the approach? Like, to make it funny, you have to take it so dry and seriously? Like, how do you play with those levels?
That is a bad question for me, because I do not know how I do any of it. I don't. It's very
unique.
It's just,
Very
but
unique.
it's not even, I'm not trying to say that. It's just, I kind of, I don't like, he knows, actually Liana does too, like, I don't like to rehearse. I don't like to kind of go over it. I kind of like to see what's going to happen, which Chris does not love that process.
Well, I do like it.
now.
I do like it, but it's frustrating because, like, I have an acting coach on speed dial, and she just walks in
I'm like, let's
and
just do it, man.
she just has a, I mean, honestly, I say this in her presence and far away from her. She just has a natural gift. So I think she's one of the funniest people out there. And so she doesn't, but it's very, very annoying. Because she's, she just kind of just jumps in.
Shows up
just
and
has
there it
just
is.
her instincts are great, and she has a great bullshit detector. So if it's pushed funny or written that sounds like a joke or a bad direction, she knows how to politely kind of push it aside and follow her instincts, which are right on.
Liana, I feel like a lot of the kind of humor in your character is also very situational. It's not necessarily like you're delivering jokes in your dialogue. Is it kind of the same process for you? Like, do you find where the humor lies in a line, or does it kind of develop itself as you act with a scene partner?
I do feel like with Tori, a lot of the comedy comes from, and probably with you too, like, it's like things are happening to her, and you kind of just have to be true to that and kind of trust that what's happening is funny, and you can just react the way that a normal person would react and trust that it will land or hope that it will land. But I think that's just a testament to our writers and our cast and just bouncing off of each other and feeling that energy, because you feel it on set, like when it starts to click. Like there was a few times when we would, like, there was one scene later in the season, I remember that obviously we were a little bit wider, so it was okay that we weren't like sinking into it yet. It was I don't want to give it away, but it was in the mirror with the pearls.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? And
Yeah.
And I think it was like right in when we were getting a little bit like punching in a little bit more, I started to feel the rhythm of the scene. But comedy's interesting in that way. Like it takes time to catch a rhythm sometimes, and then when you do, it feels like you're on a train and you're moving, and it's really exciting.
Liana's a beautiful actress, though. She's very she's very subtle, and most people don't understand like how hard that is. You're very natural, and it just kind of you have a beautiful way.
That's literally the only nice thing she's ever said.
And it is the last.
Did you get that on camera?
I
Yes,
think we're
everyone's
recording,
recording,
yeah.
and that was your birthday present. I know this dog. I can't. Pink mohawk is killing
Oh
me.
my gosh. I want to talk about Tom, despite the fact that he's not here, because I think that his character, drives a lot of the humor, especially for the two of you, because he's truly tricking you into doing ridiculous things. I mean, falling in love. I mean, I've met Tom Bateman. It's very easy to be charmed by him, and he's British in real life, so even more charming. But I would love to hear you talk about, following your characters along this line. Chris, as you say, when you do a TV show, you don't necessarily know what the end game is, and so your character can kind of change on a dime sometimes. How do you kind of manage that when a character does something that you feel is surprising even to you as the actor playing them?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I remember the first TV show that I ever had more than one episode was 6 Feet Under, and I was coming from New York theater, and I remember not having the scripts, and going up to Alan Ball and being like, I don't know how to prepare this, I don't know what I'm doing, and he said, that always stuck with me, you don't know what you're doing in life, you don't know where you're going, we don't know what when we get out of these doors are going to be. So I had no choice but to kind of take that on. But it's a cool Zen quality when you're acting at times, although also annoying and could be frustrating. But I think that's the way to go, where you just go kind of scene to scene and kind of stay open to anything can happen. And then, which is fun when you read the scripts, because you're like, oh, that's what happens to me, Tom Bateman, just going to him, I think Tom has the hardest job on the show, really.
Yeah.
Because he has to, we're being goofballs and idiots, and we are most of the time goofballs and idiots off camera. And he has to maintain, he has to, slide into that sometimes and find the comedy, and then turn on a dime and be super sinister, and we have to be, frightened of him. So he's I think he's an amazing actor. He's a super cool guy, and we're very lucky to have him.
Yeah, Liana, I would love to hear you kind of talk about your character. I mean, your character. There's a big twist, I think, in the very beginning of the show, and that she ends up with him, and that creates so many conflicts for her.
Yeah, it was interesting because I obviously knew if we got a season 2, we would be exploring that relationship. But I think initially, I mean, you don't know until you start receiving scripts where they're going to take your character. So in my mind, I think I initially assumed Tori was completely in the dark about Matt. And that kind of would be maybe my character would discover that in season 2. So it was interesting receiving the first episode and realizing that I know everything. And I remember Tom and I connecting before filming and being like, how are we going to do that? Because that is a complete 180 to how Tori thought about things in the first season. And it was definitely a challenge, but really fun. And I remember when I was reading it on paper, it felt very daunting. And then the moment I started working across from Tom, it all it completely eased my mind. And it was fun. It kind of felt like we were in our own world and our own story together. Like we kind of got to create this memory that only we have of what happened between season 1 and season 2 and what got us to this mental space. So that was really fun. It was fun to play with.
Yeah, I love the idea of being sober from
Yeah.
murder. And also the fact that all of your characters absolutely go along
And we're
with
like,
it.
that's so good.
Yeah, totally. You went to rehab. That's great.
I love you being his sponsor too.
That's
Yes.
ridiculous.
That's so funny.
Which in reality is like him just completely turning you into a chaos monster
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Fun to play.
Yeah.
Fun to play.
Yeah. In terms of like the true crime element of it all, and I think that your character, we see her evolve in her obsessions. Especially, I love kind of being stalked by mommy bloggers teaching her what to do. But what about playing that character and kind of finding those little corners of the world that she finds just these really obsessive thoughts about? Like, does that resonate with you? Like, are you
Yes.
are you on TikTok?
I'm not on TikTok,
Oh,
but what got me interested in this a handful of years ago was I'm obsessed with true crime. I mean, that is me. I go to sleep every night watching Dateline. That is true. That is true. I've watched the same ones over and over as if I don't know like what happened at the end. But I love true crime. I love true crime podcasts. I love watching shows like that, and probably because I'm on television, I don't find myself watching a lot of TV
Right,
shows.
yeah.
I like the real stuff. And so that's obviously what attracted me to this. And I know the obsession of going down that hole of really losing your mind and being like, and I have at moments been like, maybe I should like be watching like Seinfeld at night or something. Like, I think I need, and I've tried to like kind of cut it out. And then, a week later, I'm like, why am I doing that? It's fine. But that's what I love about Ava. She loves it. She just simply loves it. She wants to crack cases. She's kind of bored at home. She's now a new mom. And it brings her joy. It makes her happy, and she's actually quite good at it. She's a little Nancy Drew in her own mind, and even when Nathan decides to be like, "Listen, you're actually really good at this," it gets her excited again. And also, I think there's this obsession with, we're talking about Tom, who is so fabulous, but he is so charming and he is so scary at the same time, and she's also kind of wanting to impress him in a way, and be like, I can do this, I'm good at this too, and he kind of brings that out of people, especially like in the cast, like everyone's kind of. He's a typical, one of those good-looking killers. Like they get away with murder. But there's something about her kind of wanting to impress him a little bit and impress herself, and impress Nathan too.
Yeah.
There was do you remember there was one at the end of the season, we you're very tired and it's been long hours, and we were together in like a holding space. We had our lunch together, and then we both had our legs up, and we both kind of were like dozing off.
I fall asleep all the time.
And
yeah.
and
Yes.
all of a sudden she reached for her phone, and she, just to get us nighty night, she put on like a Dateline.
I did.
So I was like, and then Susie went to the market and never came back.
Chris is like, I can't sleep
can't
listening to this. I'm
Please
like,
turn it
yeah.
off.
I mean, yeah.
I forgot it.
Life
He
imitating
could
art.
not sleep after that. We were trying to nap, and he woke right up. And then days later, he was like, "Whatever happened to that?" I'm like, "Oh, I watched that one like 4 times."
I mean, did you figure out who did it?
Oh yeah, of course
yeah,
I figured.
yeah.
I always have my own thoughts. but
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you again, and congratulations on this second season. And it's so funny. Watch the rest.
Thanks
It's on
for coming
Peacock.
out here, you guys.
Thank you.